Hi, I'm Suzanne Neufang, CEO of GBTA. I'm here talking with you live from our Asia Pacific Conference in Singapore. And I'm talking today to Greg O'Neill, who is president of Asia Pacific, Middle East, Africa, and Global Network at BCD. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you very much.
So glad to have you here today.
Glad to be here. We finally get to do it.
And congratulations on BCD's new branding. Your new logo and tagline are Open by Design. So what does that mean in plain language? And why does it even matter to corporate travel in Asia Pacific today?
First, let me tell you how excited I am to actually have a new brand and have a new tagline and statement. We live in a very fragmented environment. The Open by Design, simply speaking, is the ability to be able to partner with technology companies, data companies, different type of partners that allow us to plug and play what customers might be looking for. You look at a market like a China, Japan, or India, they're not the same. They require different elements. And for us, it's an opportunity to capitalize on those relationships and what the customer is looking for from us.
So you mentioned some of those markets that are quite different. So for them specifically in adapting to local realities, how do you help multinational clients keep a consistency when those markets are so different?
Well, look, a travel manager today or a procurement lead is looking for consistency, and they're looking for alignment and harmonization. But in reality, that harmonization is very difficult in a fragmented market, whether it's data, whether it's technology, whether it's actually content. That content can be very fragmented. For us, it's identifying what works for the customer to meet the expectations. In a market like India, domestic content, or Japan, rail or domestic content. In China, which has regulatory environment criteria and so on. We want to identify products or services that delivers the best to the partner and the customer. And we want to make sure that we're meeting the requirements, duty of care, data delivery, price, whether it's APIs or direct connects. It's critical today, considering the volumes of opportunity in Asia Pacific. You yourself said today, you look at the volume opportunity, these are the markets to watch, and more eyes will be on it from the travel managers' perspective.
Will the advantage for you be in adoption, in leakage management? Where do you see the first opportunity then for significant changes in the way that travelers react?
Well, we've seen it with the Middle East scenario. So moving to hub environments have helped us in a duty of care scenario with our emergency services, our VIP services. But when you look at this growth economics opportunity, we've seen India burst at the seams. You see 80-90% of the volume is all domestic traffic. We've got to move to LCC opportunities. You can't get that in the GDS today. It's very limited if you can. NDC is really forcing us into a new environment. If you look at other markets like Japan, you're looking at rail and the ability to get that rail and then to get that data into your system. I think tracking travelers in a environment that has become very complex. The Middle East environment alone has shown us how important it is to identify where our travelers are, where they're sitting, and how we get them home.
If some people hear Open by Design, they may think less control.
Okay, great question.
So how does Open by Design give companies control, but also more transparency?
Well,
how does that work?
One size doesn't fit all. What we know is not every product is going to work in every market. So transparency is being able to use the right tools in the right market. Maybe a customer has their own partnership and their own relationships and want to work with us on that. However, we may have our own. We might call it TripSource in that market, but it might be a third party or a self-developed system that meets the market requirements. And so what we want is to be able to take all of those systems in every market, consolidate that data, make it transparent to the customer, whether it's coming from one system or multiple systems. And today that's pretty tough to do with one OBT or one booking tool in general. So.
Is this a big philosophical shift for BCD, or has this been an evolution with a name now for that evolution?
We've always been a travel management company that listened to our customer and what they've asked for us. I think what we are doing now is making sure that the customer knows that this open from design says, we want to sit down, we want to collaborate, we want to understand what you need from us to be a great partner. And then what's the plan? How do we deliver on that? What are your expectations? One customer may have a different expectation of that technology than another. So this open by design means that we're going to build programs for 1, 2, 3 years that meet the requirements of their business strategy. And many are different. Some might be procurement, some might be duty of care, others might be harmonization as much as possible.
As many cultures as there are companies, right?
When you think about the cultures, no two markets are alike. And for such a long time, you had a perspective that we would just plug everything in that North America was doing. It just never happened. And honestly, I'm happy to see that the company has embraced this in many ways, because I think there'll be a greater push for what can we do that's different. Give you an example. Sri Lanka was a country people didn't talk about. And for years, we said, we think there's an opportunity. We now have 300 people sitting in Sri Lanka, and we have an always-on model. That was a change and a pivot for the organization from the Costa Ricas and the Philippines and the Polands. And I think we learned that Asia Pacific is extremely dynamic, and there's a lot of opportunity, and you're going to have to capitalize on that opportunity through some of these unique scenarios. And open by design speaks well to Sri Lanka and our Asia Pacific Service Center.
Last question, how are customers responding?
I think customers have always looked to us for a consultative approach. I think from this stage, what we know is the things that we're doing, we're investing millions into China and Japan to try to bring systems together that are archaic and legacy and regulatory restrictive. I think what we're finally realizing, there's a way around it. Customers are embracing the fact that we can bring those together, and we can do it in a way that are unique to that market that will streamline the innovation that's necessary. So at this stage, I think we've seen a tremendous endorsement of our OBT strategy and our content strategy in India. We're now taking that to Japan and China. So,
all the best. Good luck.
Thank you.
Great tagline. I'm sure the rest of the world will embrace it as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Suzanne.
I'm Suzanne Neufang, CEO of GBTA, here at the GBTA APAC conference in Singapore.